So we're gonna go to town today. Ah, she's not starting. I'll just warm it up a little bit. She started! Nice. All right, let's get snow off. All right, so before we can take off, we have to make sure we have a few things. In case we get stuck in the snow, we got to be able to get out. We're all ready to go, so let's go have some fun. All right, so here we go. We're gonna take off, ride this trail with about 9 inches of snow.
Hopefully we make it.
We're gonna drive on the trail and try to make it to town. Hopefully everything runs smooth and we don't get stuck.
Got chains on all the tires, so.
All right, so this is our access. 6 miles of driving in the wintertime.
So the difference in our trail summer versus winter, the reason why the mileage from the road is so different is because we can't make it through 6 miles of swamp to use the road, the new road that they built out as our access. So the closest access to road from the beach, from our place, is 15 miles away. So we have to go use that access to get up and down the beach because there's like a 30-foot bluff to the beach. And there's only a couple spots where there's driveways cut into it. The access gets washed out with the high tide, so we spend hours every year fixing that up because it's really steep and it's slick with clay.
We basically go up the left-hand side of it. What I usually do is I'll dig in logs and then backfill it so we have traction going up it and it doesn't erode, I guess.
But that's the thing, because the driveway is cut into the bluff, so when we have 2 tides a day here, and if we get anything over what, a 32 footer?
Yeah.
Then it erodes the base of our access and it just washes it all out.
The oil company, they put in a ramp, right? And for some reason it's like at a 45-degree angle. So
oh, it's awful.
A normal truck, you can't get up it.
The one time we took a vehicle down it,
big old blue.
Yeah.
We got high centered on it.
Got high centered, and then once we got off the high center, there was no one in the vehicle to control it, and it just went whoop and launched itself off of a rock. We had to have the front end rebuilt. So. Yeah,
that was a nice $1,200 mistake. Going up that ramp though, I can go up on it on an ATV. It's scary as hell. I've actually flipped it on its back one time. Luckily I'm super agile and quick like a cat, so I jumped off that.
I've rolled an ATV going down that access before.
Yeah, I've flipped an ATV, rolled a side-by-side. Oh, so there's like this big giant rock right to the right, and we've literally had our truck pinned where we can't go up it, and it's like this far over on the rock, so you can't back up. And so we had to literally like lift up the back end and just move it over just so we could drop back down. It's never easy. Well, well, that's not true. If it's super dry and it hasn't rained, I can, and I spend some, a couple hours working on it, I can get up it. And as long as it doesn't rain and wash out, or a high tide doesn't come in and wash out the bottom, then we can usually get up it pretty decent. Here in the next couple months, we're gonna start having breakup. The transition from winter to summer and summer to winter, I would say there's probably a good 2-week gap where the trail's like, it's not completely frozen up, so you could break through, but the beach has too much ice on it, and it basically becomes like 4 feet of slush, and you can't drive through it. And so what we usually do is we just don't go to town for 2 weeks. We're going to be heading into the summer season, and things can get pretty sketch on the beach. You have all this snow melting, and it comes right off the bluff into the ocean. It gets pretty crazy. All the creeks and all the streams get like just massive amount of water coming through it. The creek normally is, you know, maybe like a foot deep. It can be like 6 feet deep. And you can lose an entire vehicle if you don't drive it right.
I have flooded an ATV in one of them once, trying to cross a flooded creek.
Always something now. But I love this life, man. I love driving the trail. It's an adventure every time, and it's always something different.
Yeah, I think that all of our vehicle like incidents when we first moved out here, they used to make us really upset, and now it's kind of in this package of what I call the charm of living on the road. You expect, you know, to get stuck or to break something, and if it doesn't happen, thank goodness, but you expect it to happen every single time. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Oh shoot.
Off the trail. There we go.
We've been stuck twice in the creek.
Two different creeks.
Yeah, 2 different creeks. Both times we've had to keep the car running just so it wouldn't freeze up.
Got towed out.
Yeah, we got towed out.
Both times.
Yeah, that was pretty intense, honestly. We really thought we were gonna lose the vehicle. Oh geez, yeah, it's pretty deep right here. So basically right now, there's a trail that I've carved out pretty much the whole season, but with this new fresh snow, it kind of covered that track. So now we're kind of just basically driving blind, just driving basically by memory. Because if we go off just like a foot, then we're in like 3.5, 4 feet of snow.
That's not hard packed what we're driving on. We've been driving all winter. We've packed down with the snow machine, other snow machiners coming out, driving the truck in and out, and so we've packed it down as it's come down. But the stuff off to the either side of the trail is soft and deep, so you just instantly sideways off of the trail. Oh fuck, are we? Woo! Oh, there we go. Oh, no. I think we're high centered. We're high centered, aren't we?
We are a little high centered.
All right, let's go dig out then.
Yeah, so we're pretty dug in, as you can see, kind of high centered. Yeah, we're just gonna have to dig ourselves out. It should have gone right where Katie's at right there, but again, you can't really tell. Yeah, because this tree was our indicator, and someone moved it. They moved that tree. It was sticking way out right where my vehicle was, and no one's driven it the whole season. Pretty much the rule of thumb is you stay to the right hand side. There's like maybe 2 or 3 spots where you have to go to the left and then swerve back to the right. Well, this is the first one.
Because we are high centered.
I used to get really upset when we got stuck. Now it's just kind of, you just kind of prepare for it now.
It happens so often that if we don't get stuck, we're surprised.
You might be thinking, why didn't we drive the snow machine? Good question.
So the thing about driving down this trail is that other people do use it. So even if we think it's cleared and ready for access, other vehicles come down it, and that can sometimes mess things up. What do you think?
I think we got a little bit more digging. I'm gonna dig out the middle right there.
Oh, just so we don't have to dig it out from under the truck again? Nice! Okay, so back on the trail, ready to go. 23 minutes to dig out. Not bad at all. We've had times where we didn't get out at all and we lost a vehicle.
Oh yeah, the beach rig. We bought a Chevy Tracker that day. We lost it to the ocean.
Yep, that quicksand nailed us. So one of the other hazards of our summer driving is the fact that the bluffs here have a lot of clay deposits in them. and those higher tides will wash the deposits out of the bluff face and then down onto the beach, and then those deposits will get wet and soupy and then covered with sand, so you don't know they're there, and it makes this pocket that looks like flat driving. And then when you actually hit on top of it, it's clay underneath. It's just this pool of mud, and you can just sink down into it really fast.
You kind of have to know the beach and where those spots are, you know, where it erodes the most, and just know and just be careful. And sometimes you just gotta gun it through it, because you start slipping, you gun it, like, because you're just gonna sink right in. And
having half your tires on sand and half your tires in mud is about the worst position to get out of.
We have a saying out here, the tide waits for no one. If you don't get on the beach when it's time to get on the beach, you're stuck waiting, or you're stuck on the beach, and you better hope it's not a really high tide. But there's been a couple times where we thought we could make it, and we're smashing, and all of a sudden we're just like, oh crap, we're not gonna make it. So what do? You pull up as high up on the beach, on the bluff as you can. You know, you got 4, 5, 6 hours where you're just sitting there waiting.
Well, and we've done things like we've blown tires while we were trying to get through, and
being in a rush.
Yep.
You know, being in a rush, not being able to just take your time. Literally, the tide's like this close from your tire, and you're just like, oh crap. So you're jacking it up, throwing that tire on, and then the only thing you can do at that point is just drive right up the beach, right up the bluff, as high as you can get it, and wait it out.
Put your engine up on the cliff as high as you can.
All right, so it looks like we are about 300 feet from the road.
Woohoo!
So it looks like we made it. Only got stuck once, so that's
whoa, don't jinx us before we hit the parking lot.
No, we're good. We're good. Yes, our access is pretty crazy, and we drive this anytime we want to go to town. Well, hopefully they didn't. Okay.
I know, I was like, did this guy block the road? But he didn't, so. Now we get to go through a little bit of deep snow and a tight turn to get onto
the road.
Not paved road, graveled, but
and now we're here.
A lawyer friend of ours did bully the borough into maintaining it, so it is plowed now if they get more than 4 inches of snow, which is nice.
We made it to the park. You know, that's just a little taste of what we have to go through every time we want to go to town.
This road where we're parked right now is actually brand new. So the first couple years we lived out here, we had another half hour before we would even reach the road. This is a new thing this winter.
Yeah, before it was 9 more miles of this. So you can imagine just that 6 miles, add another 9 onto it. It was pretty crazy. So we are pretty grateful that the road came in. It does make winter driving a lot less of a hassle. A lot safer too, you know, so if we break down, it's only 3 miles in either direction that we have to walk instead of, you know, 7. We got about another 45 miles to go to get to town, but it's all highway driving, so we shouldn't have any issues.
And then we'll do it again to come home.
We'll drive home, probably in the dark.